We got a question that has been written in about envy and comparison. So, how do you deal with envy and comparison? Something that people bring up all the time when we're talking about developing ourselves. Especially with guys. I mean, it's like, God, dude, how do we, whether that's like dating, man, big time dating and sex. Like, this is things that guys don't talk about, and so it's so easy to get caught up in like envy, comparison, and like all the sort of shit of like weighing the scale, and it pisses you off. It leads to like resentment and self hate and all the sort of shit. But here's the thing, guys. Here's what I say to this question that got answered, or that I'm answering here, is that, man, why don't we just go with it? Like, why don't you just fucking go with it? What's the bad thing about it? See, the thing is what makes something, turn into that resentment, what makes something turn into that block is the repression from ourselves. It's the thing saying that we've now done something wrong. But what if we just go, man, we envy and compare, and it's kind of a fucking normal thing that happens. And it's a process of it. And it's a process in this big process of change that does happen. So when I'm not getting results about something, and we were talking about this in terms of jujitsu, because I was like, man, I can't measure my jujitsu like performance in anything less than 6 month increments. Because if I measure it in what I did last week or this week, it's just too inconsistent. There's so many different varying factors, so much to the point where I don't know. After 6 years of training, I just know that I really can't see whether or not I've improved or not unless I go back to 6 months prior. If I do it within the month or within a couple weeks or something like that, I'm delusional about it. And what I do in that time is I'm constantly going like, man, I'm comparing myself with others. I'm going, man, this guy gets it and I don't. These other people like only had to drill it X amount of times before they got it. Man, I keep losing. I keep losing to the same position. I keep getting to the same position that I got last week and I can't get it right. And I move into that comparison, but that's a part of the process. That doesn't mean I stop. That doesn't mean that in a couple weeks down the road, a couple months down the road, I'm not going to get it or I'm not going to improve. What it means is that's just a head game that comes with it. We don't look at that enough when we're looking at developing long-term, goals for ourselves. And that usually comes into play when it comes into how you're going to be in shape, how you're going to achieve excellence in a certain hobby or an expression, an art form, something like that. In terms of, man, relationships and sex, huge. God, man, how we work with our bodies. I mean, God, it's great that I can do a 30-day crash diet or a 30-day experimentation with a ketogenic diet or a vegan diet or whatever it is. But making it that lifestyle, man, you're always going to have that envy. You're always going to have that comparison for the people that get it and that you don't. And so what I say to it is, man, just say fuck it. Man, that is me. Like, it's okay to do that. It's okay to be in that phase. Man, it's okay to hate on some people for a little bit. It's okay to go like, man, fuck, I must be fundamentally flawed for this, as long as we realize that that's a phase of it and we pop ourselves out of it. Because to look at it as like, man, it's this horrible thing, dude, it's always going to be there to some degree. Now, when we look at it as a true window of self-hate or a true window of I'm never going to get better or a true window of like, God, I should just give up. And it's this repetitious pattern that is so attached to why and how you fail. Man, that's because you are also making it too big of a deal. You're giving it a voice for something that everybody feels. And I mean, it is envy. So you're going like, man, I'm sad. I'm not getting results and fuck that person because they are. I'm envious for them. They go through that same experience. It's a normal part of the equation. Where we take that, whether we turn that into actual hate, whether we take an action and get angry at somebody or other people because of it, or we repress ourselves, a little bit of shaking there, we repress ourselves because of it. We fucking like say that we're a failure or we quit because of it. Man, that's where we really, really lose the game. So, man, I think when it comes down to envy and comparison, see it for however we see it. See it as a natural phase in it, and that when we do it, man, it's a part of the process of actually getting better, and it's a normal thing. In fact, we need it just to be able to see the clarity of what is actually going to help us. What we do with it, how much we let it control us, how much we let it control our actions and our viewpoints on other people and ourselves is the real thing that we need to be looking at.